y'all, but the bus boy, the bartender.
Just with the service. Just the service. I thought we was already going.
All right, we're back again and speaking with Gravity.
Yes.
I am Curvin.
I'm D.
And I'm Ty.
I'm Joshua. I'm Garvey. I'm all above.
Okay, that's what's up. And we are a podcast, a mental health podcast that talks about mental health and how everything affects everything. 3 of the 4 of us are therapists, but this isn't therapy. It's a podcast. And today, our topic of discussion is going to be, it's a good one. It's pretty. I hear this a lot. Is college really necessary? And as we always do, we're going to go into the Twitter discussion. We probably should give our disclaimer, but we don't hardly even do that no more. Look, disclaimer. What's the gist of the disclaimer in general? What should I be telling them?
So the gist of the disclaimer is we are therapists, but the information we are sharing is not meant to be therapeutic. It is just our genuine.
I'm gonna help you. I just finished it up.
Genuine.
Is our genuine.
Who making up words this episode?
Me. Okay, I'll take it. It's just our genuine thoughts and feelings surrounding topics using our personal and professional experience. So if you are seeking therapeutic advice, we recommend getting connected with some of your local mental health providers so that you can get that insight directly for your direct experience.
And this particular one, we won't get too much into mental health, but of course, everything affects everything. As I like to say. However, we're going into the Twitter discussion, right? So the Twitter discussion is Twitter plus YouTube is greater than college. Twitter plus YouTube is greater than college. Do y'all agree or not agree? And that came from an interesting guy. Literally, that's his name, an interesting guy. But Twitter plus YouTube is greater than college. Do you agree or not agree?
Did he say why? Like what the context was? Or?
Nah, he didn't give all that context. He just straight said that Twitter plus YouTube is greater than college.
I feel like that's too broad of an intellectual, if he is one, to just put that out there. I mean, it's meant to be entertaining. He's trying to be entertaining, right? He's on Twitter. But how y'all feel about it though?
What do y'all say? What do y'all young people say? That's cap. There's no way possible. Absolutely no way possible.
I'm not going to say maybe they're equal. Again, it's up to each individual's interpretation. That's where I'm leaving stuff at. From a financial standpoint, it could be because those who have massive YouTube followers, ultimately end up getting into contractual agreements with YouTube and profiting off of it. Those who may post content on Twitter and YouTube without any financial compensation, just the information that they're able to share and things go viral, opposed to college in a sense. So, whereas college, depending on your major, you're getting foundational knowledge, experiences, exposure. It's just so much. Good food sometimes from the cafeteria.
I don't know if my cafeteria was that nice.
Oh, see, again, going back to that
Mine
HBCU
was,
chicken Wednesdays.
Okay.
Wednesday.
What you think?
I don't think Twitter and YouTube is greater than college. I do believe that each one contribute to just the uniqueness of people and creates a different experience. I don't think one is greater than the other. There's opportunities to be created on both spectrums. I think, for some people, Twitter and YouTube has created exposure and opportunities for them and led them in different avenues that they may have never had an opportunity to do. And it just goes to show that there are opportunities out there, but college has done the same thing in many ways. It has, exposed people to different people. It has created linear, and I think it just shows the movement of time and what technology has done. Because when we go back, we ain't always had Twitter. So I think you really have to navigate. You know what I'm saying? And Twitter was created because somebody went to college. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think
whether they graduated or not, definitely some exposure.
Just being able to collaborate with people and advance
crazy.
yourself. So I don't see them as being greater. I just see it's a branch of creativity, and that's what creativity is greater than college.
Damn, man, we didn't even have anything.
Creativity
close to
is greater than college.
Definitely.
Dang, I like that.
Yeah.
That's big.
Oh yeah. Say that again.
Man, you always want to.
Because
you dropping jewels, baby. And
yeah, that's like your boy 19 Keys.
Yeah.
19 Keys.
What is it? Not to cut your wisdom.
Yeah. All right, so the QD of the hour.
Beauty of the hour, which is another version of fun facts, information for you to be able to give to your friends, colleagues, family, co-workers, church members. More than 4 in 10 bachelor's degree holders under 45 did not agree with the benefits of their educations exceeded the costs, according to a survey by the Federal Reserve.
Intro.
The college years are considered a key developmental time in one's life. The age of onset for lifetime mental health problems often coincide with what has traditionally been considered college years. So that's 18 to 23. About 75% of lifetime mental health problems will onset by the age of 24. But is college even necessary anymore? Can we get to where we are going without college? Today we will explore the question and how it relates to mental health, if it at all does.
Yeah, I kind of went over that QD of the hour, and I was like, oh, I should have said something. More than 4 in 10 bachelor degree holders under 45 did not agree that the benefits of their education exceeded the cost. Ooh.
Me?
You agree with that?
Did not agree that the benefits of their education exceeds the cost.
I'm reading that wrong, huh?
No, you're reading it right.
Did not agree that the benefits of their education exceeds
the cost. So
I mean, you can't put a price tag on the knowledge that one is gained. I feel for me personally. There will never be a certain amount of money that will equate to the knowledge that I've gained from undergrad and my graduate school exposure. On the flip side, the financial cost of that, I was about to say some explicit language, excuse me. It just doesn't equal out for me. So I'm not going to say I disagree with the statement. I guess just from a financial standpoint, I feel like this. My student loans should not exceed my current annual salary based off of the profession that I chose to pursue. It should at least equal. It should be equal, me personally. Because how will I ever be able to truly pay back those expenses as the principal interest continues to increase over time? And again, I'm in a profession that I chose because, again, you can't put a price tag on my skill set, but I don't want to be pocket broke either. But it just don't make sense to me. Like they're saying, the math ain't mathing. Like, why my degree costs more than what I get paid to do?
But I think when I'm looking at that, I'm putting the onus on me. So I went to a PWI, and it was a liberal arts school. So at the time that I went to school, it was $14,000. By the time I ended, I want to say it was $20,000. Right? Mm. But that was a choice that I made. Now, granted, I didn't have all the information. I didn't know what I know now. If I knew what I knew now, I probably would have went to a public school as opposed to a liberal arts school. So a part of that, the amount of money that I owe, I could probably cut it in half had I went to a different school. That's number one. Number two, going back to your statement of skill sets, I chose to be in psychology. So knowing that I'm going to be in, well, actually, when I started school, I didn't know I was going to be in psychology. But if I knew psychology was going to be where I ended up at, now I need to look at how much I'm going to get paid being in this psychology field, and go to a school according to what I'm going to get paid that I can pay back. Again, onus on me. I borrowed more than I actually needed. Now that's just me. Everybody don't do that. I borrowed more than I needed it. And then last but not least, I wouldn't give, even though I wanted to go, now I want to go to a HBCU, even where I went, I would not give back those experiences. The people that I met, the things that I did, the trouble, and I say trouble in quotation marks, but the trouble that I got myself into, it was all for the benefit of me. I really enjoyed my undergraduate experience. Graduate, I was working and eventually got married or whatever. But undergraduate, I really enjoyed it, and I wouldn't take back that experience. I don't even think, cost-wise, I don't know if I could pay for what I experienced. I really enjoyed it. So that's why I see it, I guess, a little bit different. What about you, Josh? UD?
I think it's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
I wish college wasn't as expensive as it is.
But didn't you have fun where you was at?
I had a lot of fun. I had too much fun.
Did you learn a lot outside of the classroom?
I did learn a lot outside of the classroom. Yeah, definitely as well. I feel like a lot of prerequisites, I would say prerequisite classes that we took, that might have been a waste of money, in a way. I don't feel like a lot of those I really needed. I'm not using those, even though I, went into my career kind of. Like a math class, I don't really use math. Stats too much. So a lot of that to me, or at least not as much. I don't need a stat 1 and 2. You know what I mean? I might need half a stat 1. You feel me?
Half a stat.
And so, but I'm paying for both of those classes.
Yeah.
If I could pay for half a stat 1, that'd be half of the cost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, in that regard, that's added onto those expenses. Adding onto those expenses.
Yes.
But I mean, it is giving me, some more knowledge. But ultimately, some of it I didn't use, so or I don't use. So, yeah. But to answer the question, yeah, it's expensive. I do think that college training and education is necessary, though.
So I do not agree with this statement. However, I have to put in a disclaimer. I don't say it exceeds the cost. I think it exceeds the financial cost of college. I think when we're, just as you guys have echoed, thinking about college in a retrospective, if I could go back and do college now without the financial debt, I would do the same process. And part of that being because when I look about it, there were not a lot of people around me at the time that I enrolled in college who understood the college experience. And so, most people were pushing for me and proud of me for going to college, but nobody really taught me like how to navigate, or how to understand student loans and how to apply for grants and the need and the importance of applying for scholarships early on. And so in my mind, the success was just being able to go to college. That was it. And so whatever you do, you go to college and you stay there. So if you need to take out 20 or 30 loans, whatever you need to do, that's what you do. And so that was kind of the mindset. And then we didn't really have the substantial financial literacy about navigating money. So this is where taking out more money than what I actually need. But in a sense, I did need it because I wasn't working at the time and I needed to be able to wash clothes and I wanted to hang out and I needed to go to a parties because I needed to experience all of that. I needed to truly to the parties. That's what I said. That's what I said.
You needed to be able to go.
Needed that outlet.
I did. I needed all of that experience to make me who I am. So I needed that. And so when I look back at it, again, I would do the same thing, but I would try to be more intentional about the process in terms of it. I wouldn't chase a school where I have to take out $20,000 and $30,000 per semester for classes. I would go to a school that provided me an opportunity of either a full ride or where the cost was less substantial because what I've learned is the college doesn't define my education. It's what I embed. So the books that I read, because I'm seeing now a lot of the books are the same. A lot of the content is the same. And so if I would really take the time to actually read the book and do what I'm supposed to, the experience I would have gotten, the education would have been pretty much the same, but the cost of living that I acquire outside of that would have been so much greater. If I can make my income now and not have whatever I got in student loans, I would be okay. But because I have student loans, and because the economy continues to rise, and because interest continues to promote, I don't make enough for the education that I have. And it's just, I love what I do, and I think that's my lane, but I wish I would. That's the only thing I wish I would have known different. I would have had a little bit more insight.
And can I say something on top of that? We had a sex ed class in high school.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a gym class in high school. Wouldn't it have been nice to have like a true like college preparatory
Right.
class or training, post-secondary training, course related to what you can expect. Even financial literacy, that's big right now. But in school, in high school, a lot of classes I feel like that I had weren't very meaningful to, what I would be doing later on. And I mean, I understand you still have to be exposed to those subjects, those things. But I just think it would have been really nice, to kind of set people up for success, for making good decisions about college, about post-secondary training and education. Boy, that would have been nice.
It would have.
And I think, too, having one, I don't know how many y'all have, but I remember just one guidance counselor for the whole school. So when I think about
we had two
guidance counselor trying to navigate, or even two, with a 400 and something students, like, what's the possibility of that, of really trying to help students adequately complete that process?
Insane.
And then with a lot of first generational students, because I know, I'm not going to say I'm the first generation of all times, but I'm the first generation in my immediate family who directly went into college. And so, because I had this experience, now I can tell my nieces and nephews different. Now, whether they listen or not, that's at their discretion, but I have the exposure to be able to tell them different. Like, I try to promote them to go to spaces of HBCUs, not only because of the experience, but because of the financial opportunity that sometimes HBCUs create for us to sustain our place in that atmosphere if you're willing to put in the work. And so I think that's why it's just so important to really have the experience that we had, because this experience that I have now will allow me to create a better experience for my son. So,
what y'all think the purpose of college really is? And I'll take this one first. But for me, it was all about finding myself. It really was about. Now, I didn't know that at the time, but when I look back on it, I found myself in a lot of ways. I changed my major 5 times. 5 times. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And when I settled on psychology, the reason I settled on psychology, it was interesting. But at the time that I was in school, to graduate, all I had to have was a 2.0. The other majors, I think it had to have like a 2.5. Might could have got away with a 2.3, but 2.0, I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. I'll end right there. But I actually love writing. I love learning about individuals. So that was one aspect of it, finding myself in the career that I wanted. But the other aspect was me socially finding myself. I wasn't coming up. I wasn't necessarily that guy that's going to be in front of a camera. I wasn't that guy that was necessarily going to network with people and meet other people and talk to them and be like cracking jokes and stuff like that. I wasn't that person, but I became that person. And maybe it was always in me, and I just didn't know it because of the way that my parents reared me or brought me up. But I definitely found it. Definitely found it in undergrad. So it was a time the purpose for me was being able to explore and find myself.
Now, are you saying the purpose before you went, that was the purpose? Or are you saying afterwards you realized, oh, that's what it did for me?
After I realized that, the purpose going with me going into it, I went because my mama made me go. But it was, from her standpoint, it was, you're going to get an education to get you a good job.
Right.
So that was what she was thinking. And then, of course, what I just explained is what I found out later. That's what, and with me dealing with my kids, I'm not looking at it like, okay, you're going to go get this education to get a good job. I ultimately want them to know, try to figure out now what they want to be. You know, do you even want to go to college? Do you want to have your own business? What do you want to do? I push them all the time, still pushing them to try to figure that out before they get there. And then we can try to help you support whatever lane you need to go to. But selfishly, I want them to go to have the experiences that that I had, like going out to these parties I felt a need that I needed to go to. Meeting the friends that I met. Selfishly, I want them to go, but I also don't want them to waste money.
Right.
So, I'm having to balance that from my end as a parent. But what do y'all think, purpose-wise? What do you think?
I mean, I think the purpose is just training and education. I feel like everything else is like an added value, pretty much. I think the purpose is just strictly that. I mean, it puts you around different people. It exposes you. You get that exposure. You know what I mean? But the true purpose is, I'm doing this so that later on in life I can, I can have something, so I can be something. Hopefully, be what I want to be. Hopefully, what I mean. That's what I'll get into. To me, everything else is just, it's very important, but to me, not really what you're there for. But you're gonna have fun. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
In some cases, too much.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I first went to college, my mindset was that college was the end-all, be-all. So all I had to do was go to college, and when I got out, it was going to be a job for me, and I was smooth sailing.
Ooh,
and
I wish.
The reality of being in college taught me that it required work. Like, it requires you to be intentional, because through high school, I got to get up so my mama don't fuss. So I got to be at school, so I don't want to hear nobody's mouth. But when you get to college, is you not getting up for class is nobody's problem but yours. Because for me, my mom and dad at the time were both deceased. So me getting up to college wasn't for anybody else other than me. So if I didn't go to class, it wasn't a whole bunch of people that was going to be mad about it. It was for me. So it was me proving to myself that anything I put my mind to, I have the ability to do. And I do think that college was the foundation of knowledge. Like, I feel like, if I be honest, I feel like I've always kind of been a therapist, even from a young girl, because I always wanted to problem solve with people. I always wanted to be an ear. I may have went about it the wrong way. I might have been a little bit more aggressive, but I always wanted to help people. And so I feel like college allowed me to kind of narrow in that desire and that passion to want to serve people, and put me on a path that allowed me to do that ongoingly. And I'm very grateful for that experience. But I feel like the aftermath of that is what you talked about, is that when I look back, I can really see what college exposed me to a lot of people. It exposed me that everybody don't think like everybody from my neighborhood thinks.
Yeah.
Everybody don't live how people from my neighborhood lived. Like, I didn't realize how closed-minded I was staying in this one area. Like, I needed to go to college so that I could know that exposure was a possibility. And maybe it came because of limited, maybe I didn't have that before because of limited resources or whatever. But being able to go to college allows me to be able to think differently. Even now, when I go back to certain, places for or talking with my sister or my brother or whomever or family from back home, like, my mindset is so different in so many ways. And it's not even intentional, but it's like, now I don't see it like that. I see it, a little bit different. But I'm thinking about, I'm able to do that because I've been exposed to different people. Like, I've been able to travel. And I realized, too, my brother, who is a truck driver, him being able to go to different places, his mind has exposed him to so much more now that sometimes I don't think he realizes how intellectual he is. And I tell him, you're part of the brains for the family, and it didn't come from you sitting on a college classroom, but it came from you being able to have exposure and going to different places, having conversations with different people, sitting down at different places, and just being able to be around different people. And that exposure word is so important for me, because for our community, our kids are not always exposed to anything different, and so until they're exposed to different, they don't be different, and that to me is why college is still important.
I like when you said meeting people who didn't think like the people that you grew up around.
Yeah.
I'm a preacher's kid, grew up in a church, and I remember having these religious conversations, talking to people who were atheists, talking to people who didn't necessarily believe the same thing I believe, but then still being able to respect them for what their beliefs were. Respect them as a person, as a human being, knowing and understanding that they can still contribute to my world, even though we don't agree on the same thing. I remember he's still one of my really, really good friends to today. I just went to see him, the one that's in New York. He was like, man, I don't know if I believe all that stuff that we've been taught. Like, cause his parents was kind of telling him some of the same things my parents was telling, but I was like adamant about it. But we were tight. We was real cool, and we just knew, all right, this is what I believe, this is what you believe, and we still was able to just be all right. He said he always remembered I didn't make him feel bad for being who he was. I wasn't judgmental from that standpoint. But kind of off the script, do y'all remember y'all very first day pulling up to your school?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I remember my mom and dad had this van. So everybody was in the van taking me to school. My sister, my little brother, my mom and my dad. And at the time, financially my family wasn't at its best state. So all I had was one, like the little bag that you put your dirty clothes in, just one of those, and then I might have. That's it. I think just had that. And I remember my roommate being like, "Hey man, you want me to help you get your stuff?" Nah.
This is it.
This is it. You ain't got nothing else down there? Nah. Well, I'm gonna go down there, and he came down because he wanted to see what I had. And me and him started the year off. We ain't had no TV. We didn't have no music because at the time, we didn't have cell phones, so you had to have a TV. We ain't had no cable. We couldn't call out. But I remember that, man, and I again selfishly want my kids to experience that. But do y'all remember y'all? I remember my sister crying because I was gonna be leaving. That made me feel good, in a way, because I'm like, oh man, she loved me. But do y'all remember that?
Absolutely.
Y'all not gonna share it?
I'm gonna let y'all go first.
I mean, for me, my experience, I applied first and foremost late to college. So honestly, I didn't even know where I was going to go after I'd graduated. Finally got the acceptance letter, but I had missed the college, the freshman orientation week, where I would have been able to interact with all of the incoming freshmen before school started. So I was a little late on that. So I got to school during regular registration. My first experience, honestly, I'm just grateful because the university had accepted too many incoming freshmen. So, of course, you guys know about the validation process. You all know about the validation process, ultimately being financially cleared to go to school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So a lot of students, unfortunately, did not. I'm not going to even say unfortunately. Maybe it was for their, own personal journey and well-being for them not to attend Johnson C. Smith at that time. But for me, I was fortunate enough to attend the university, so still they had accepted too many students. I got to stay downtown Charlotte at the DoubleTree. Finally got to move on campus. I was able to be housed in the female SGA dormitory. So I got already special privileges out the gate. Having, my own room with my other roommate, and we had our own bathroom, so no communal sharing the restrooms.
I definitely had that my freshman year.
So again, just blessed. I was blessed, honestly. Financially, my parents did all that they could do at that moment in time, so I was okay. I had my basic necessities, and then I met the friends that I still call my friends today. So, but just to answer the question, my first experience being dropped off at Smith, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
I want to encourage people to be open-minded because I remember when I first went to college, when I first pulled up to the dorm, stayed on campus, didn't really know what to expect, and I was kind of just really holding on to back home. I was going home a lot that first year and not really engaging myself, with the other students and just the culture of being in college, Want to encourage people, to be open-minded and going to college. You're going to meet a lot of interesting people. And to that person who might be a little afraid about it, it's going to be cool, man. It's going to be a great experience. But, yeah, that's what I remember. I remember going and I didn't know what to expect. And so I was kind of just like, as a defense mechanism, I feel like I was like, yeah, I'm here. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Who these people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just as a defense mechanism. But, over time, I opened up and really got to know people. Because I had a lot going on back home. I had a lot of friends back home, that I wanted to stay connected with, and let them know that I hadn't outgrown them or nothing like that.
I don't know about you, but you kind of do. You maybe not every single one, but you kind of out. I don't even know if I want to say outgrow, but you just end up being in a different place.
And the ones that are really genuine, they understand that at the end of the day. So I got friends. I got friends from home, as well as friends from college, and my friends from home, they understand. I may talk a little different than I used to. It's just, I've been exposed differently, and this is who I am. But I'm still the same person. Still like a lot of the same things. Some of them I don't do as much no more. But, your true friends, your authentic friends, they're going to understand. That's how you're going to be able to tell, separate the difference in real and fake in the people around you.
I want to come to your homecoming. I've been to Landers homecoming. I've been to USC homecoming. I actually went to Clemson, Carolina game that you would not come to my tailgate on. But
I came to a tailgate, though, remember?
Not mine. Neither.
Clemson?
Yeah.
He said it wasn't his tailgate, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get back to that. But I want to go to I want to go to yours. I want to check out Johnson C. Smith.
I'll be there this year, 10-year anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Where's it at again?
Johnson C. Smith.
What was it?
Oh, Charlotte.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was in North Carolina.
10 years in.
10 years.
Okay, you
In
getting
May.
old. You getting old.
Since graduating from undergrad, I'm aging like fine wine.
I bet that's wild, though. In Charlotte,
It was
homecoming.
The exposure again. You guys mentioning exposure. That was my first time being exposed to a bigger city. Coming from a rural area here, being closed-minded. It was great for me. I mean, getting comments. Good thing my group of friends here, we all went off to school, so it was the same. Everybody had their different exposures because we all chose to go off to schools. I just happened to go the furthest, depending, because one of my friends went to Florence, so I think that's about 2 hours from Greenwood.
About 2.5.
So the same distance, I guess, for me with Charlotte. But just the exposure, honestly, being able to think outside the box, getting outside of my normal bubble, it was great. Yeah, they just opened the door and opportunities, even going to another larger city and just moving fearlessly. Although I still had some components of fear, but I learned through college, just being a risk taker, and that came from also being around other people. If they can do it, I can do it too. What's the difference?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. Definitely had to learn to kind of fend for myself. I sold snacks on campus.
Let's
that
go.
hustler mentality really came out then because it's like,
You
all right,
sold
you
snacks?
I was the snack lady, okay? For individuals who
I
did
sold
not
snacks
have
too.
meal
Oh,
plans
wow.
or those who chose to partake in, recreational activities that ultimately led to them having the munchies a little later, come see me. You can get
Okay.
sandwiches, Hot Pockets, but just that mentality alone, I did.
I was just sneaking people into the cafeteria.
See, Will Smith, that
Oh,
one
people
time
that didn't go to school. With
No, people that
they
went
didn't
to
have a
school.
meal plan.
Or if you didn't go to school, like if your friend came, y'all ever had somebody who had a friend come stay for the weekend?
but thought
And
it
I
was
worked in the
school.
cafeteria, so like, yeah, I'm gonna get you in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, you couldn't? Outsiders couldn't come in the cafeteria?
You had to pay.
They weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
Oh,
See you at USC,
At
right?
USC, yeah.
it was so
Anybody
much
walk in.
bigger,
If
right?
you got money, we taking your money. Yeah.
Okay.
It
Oh,
was
so
me.
like regular people from off the street could just come in.
You wouldn't see it too much, but yeah, like I would bring my friends and yeah, you wouldn't need a badge or anything like that.
They ain't have to pay either.
They had to pay.
Oh,
That's what I
okay,
said.
yeah,
We'll-
okay.
They had to pay.
The campus, the university,
No,
we'll take
when I
your
say
money.
sneaking in, I'm talking about sneaking in, no paying, no nothing. You coming in.
Sneaking in through the back door.
Yeah.
And get
Or
a meal
side
for the
door.
free,
Yeah.
for the free ski.
Yeah, for real. Hey, God forgive me for this. Yeah. And there were some people who wouldn't even add the meal plan because I know I know Kirby. So I ain't gonna have the meal plan because we had that option. When we talk about fees, right? We had the option of whether you wanted to get a meal plan or not.
Yeah.
And I know I went a semester or two without it because I worked in the cafeteria. So I was like, all right, I ain't gonna need it. Yeah. And then I would, extend that gratitude to some of my friends. But I hate that I didn't hustle and was like, all right, man, you give me a little something on the low, I got you.
Come on.
Yeah.
I really should have did that. But all right, we getting too much.
Yeah.
Did you? We getting off.
Did you hustle, D? Did you hustle?
I did not hustle.
No. I'm just
I'm
messing
sure.
with her.
It's
I know we
Honestly,
get
y'all,
off.
I did not hustle. I don't know. Like when I first, initially when I first got to college, I remember it. Like my foster mom was very emotional, so it's just kind of like, drop me off, hugs. Okay, we get in the car. But I knew what that was about because she had been crying the day before, and I think it was just overwhelming for her, for me to be away, and but she knew it was better for me. So once I got there, I met, my friend. I think Haley was the first person I met. And then we just kind of grew. So when I first got to college, my first semester, it was probably about 12 to 15 girls, and we stayed together a lot of times. So really
12 or 15?
it was like we rolled in groups.
Yeah,
Like it was a lot. It was a lot of us. And so, Haley, Denise, Chris, and Mackenzie, my roommates was cool, Val, Nene, Satoya, like all of these people. But, eventually as time progressed, we all went our own ways. But, we was deep. And so in that first couple of weeks, like we used each other, I guess, to get acclimated to the atmosphere, in the cafeteria, you'll find me talking to anybody. I was kind of I would say the mama, but not the mama of the group. I kind of had a little control. Like you don't mess with my girls. So, that's kind of was my role for a long time. But then I think just being there, I just really tried to chill with whoever. I didn't have no money, so my friends, shout out to every last one of them because I had no money.
Hello.
There were times I couldn't even afford a double cheeseburger, and my girls would just literally go take me to McDonald's, and I'm ordering with them. Then I got too expensive. They ordering a double cheeseburger, and I'm trying to order a meal, and they like, hold up, Sue. So that experience just really taught me how to value people. In terms of what people do for you, they don't have to do it, and I think that's kind of what transpired. It was just a genuinely great experience. This college I went to is a PWI, but I am so grateful because, like, it was like the black people in the college we were our own community and our own family, and so I got used to it. I didn't have a car, so I couldn't go home. And my mama was not coming to get me. You come home during the break, and that's if we coming to get you then. So it's just kind of like those experiences of kind of me being on my own but having a family at the same time. College was dope.
We talk about the cost of college, right? And I brought up one of the things about the meal plan, but in doing a research on it, they was like they putting different fees in there now, and I wrote them down, right? Y'all ever heard of a spirit fee?
What's a
What's that
spirit
for, like
fee,
Spirit Week or something, where they get fancy with the
I
meals?
have not heard of a
Spirit fee goes to is another fee that goes to the athletic clubs.
Is this across like?
No, not every. Just different colleges are having different fees
Okay,
that are
that's
tagged
one of
on, and they calling it different stuff. One of them was a spirit fee, and another one was an athletic fee. But they're both going to the athletic clubs, or whatever. It's like, wait a minute, why am I getting charged as a person who's not playing in the sports, or why am I getting charged for coming to watch? them play sports. Y'all decided that as a school to have that. And yes, it's for my entertainment, but other people too. And we're making money off of that. Why why we need to add my spirit fee to it? Lab fees, which I don't think we had them when I was in school, but I can kind of see that.
Computer labs.
Well, no, not even just that. Biology,
Oh, biology
chemistry,
labs.
having those little
Okay.
glasses
I
and
see
stuff
that,
like
though.
that. I can see that. Then they had transportation fees. When I was in school, it wouldn't have been relevant, but I know Lander has a little Lander bus now.
The shuttle.
Yeah,
Shuttle.
so I can kind of see that. And then I seen one school had a campus fee. That campus fee was $1,300. And they said it's for student enhancement programs, services, facilities which cover and support the academic experience, such as health service, recreation center, student events, concert, campus busing, and athletics. To me, that sounds like college. All that should be under tuition. Like, why are we adding an extra fee for it?
I'm gonna tell you what come to mind with me just right out the gate is those colleges are looking to grow. You know what I mean? And they recognize that, hey, these are things a part of the college experience. This is a way that we can justify charging these people more. This is a way we
I
we
get
can
that,
justify
but
it, not
if you're
shouldn't.
gonna the only way to justify it is to actually put more out there. Like, you got to be different from Johnson C. Smith. You got to be different from. If I'm going to Anderson College at this time, what are y'all doing differently than Johnson C. Smith, Lander, or USC? What makes y'all different? Now, mind you, at the time that I went, I was just glad to be in college, and we literally had just a campus. That was it. As I stayed there, they had more and more stuff. They built the student center. They started doing things, having clubs and organizations. I started one of them. But if you're gonna charge me that fee, you need to show me that you got an adult slide that I can go slide down. I need to see my money, or you need to have a 360 booth every 2 weeks come out. And I don't have to pay for the 360 booth. Like, I remember at the time that I was in school, they had like a company come out and you can make videos, music videos. They had a song, you make the music videos. But when they came, we didn't have to pay for them. So I made like 20 of them. That's what I need to see if it's going to be in a campus fee. Not, we got this set up and then you got to have $5 for each one that you do. If you do that, I ain't mad at you for having that fee because you're doing extra stuff to enhance my experience.
Right.
But if you just got college there, nah. I think we've already talked about some of the benefits. I mean, we can expand on it more, but we've already talked about those. What would y'all say? Whatever come to your mind. What are pros? What are cons to it? What are pros and cons to it? If I had to say a con, one we talked about offline, but me borrowing more than I needed, so that I can have spending money. And when I say spending money, I'm saying it loosely. Yeah. I wasn't just living off of it like I know when I first started, I didn't have any money unless my parents done gave it to me. So I could have used it for that. But as I learned more about being able to borrow more, I was using it for other stuff. I heard people was using it to buy like the new generation of buying Gucci bags and stuff like that. I wasn't buying that, but I was using it to go out and do stuff like that, and that was unnecessary. So that's a con of it. And at the time that I was in school, credit cards was real bad. They would set up our first week. We 18, fresh out of high school. Different companies would come their first week and get you signed up. Here go $500. Here go $1,000, depending on who you were. And then I think I got my first credit card on campus. Didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Paying
$25, and then when you ain't got the $25 or when you forget, now you messed up. So that's preying on us would be a con of it. And then there was another con that came to my mind. It said professors or teachers, I was reading about it, professors or teachers that don't want to be there or that's unqualified. I can't say I really experienced that a lot, but me as a person that want to teach on a college campus, I can see myself being so involved in my business that I slack on giving that person that's coming to class the best of me. So maybe adjunct professor, if you're not careful, having an adjunct professor that's not giving his all, that could be a con of it. And it just depends on how many, and I don't even know if adjunct is the right word, but having professors that come that are not aligned necessarily, that could be a con. I didn't experience too much of that in undergrad. So that's my thoughts when I say cons.
I think for me too, I don't have many cons, really just that one, not borrowing more than I needed. But kind of like what you said, 2D, I kind of did need those extra funds, just for survival. Now, don't get me wrong, I blew my refund checks too. Curtin was talking about, people buying Gucci's. I was buying the Coach sneakers, getting my hair done every 2 weeks, going out. Honestly, being able to do things that I had never done because I knew I had this amount of money and it was mine. But I'll never forget a residential advisor. He was like, you get extra money, pay back your student loans. I didn't take heed to that. So I do appreciate that from him. But that would be my only con. Not, borrowing too much and really should have been educated enough to borrow only what I needed to cover, tuition. Really, that's it. Like I said, I was a hustler. But going back to what you said, D, I'm so grateful, too, for friends. Because I ain't had no money at certain times. And I had a friend. She'll probably be at my wedding one day to drop this story because she already said it. I'll never forget we went to McDonald's, $5. Yeah. Double cheeseburgers were $1, small fry were $1. I complained about ultimately accepting a free meal because I was so mad at self for not having money. I was like, I don't want no double cheeseburger. But the fact that she was so gracious enough to offer that $5, 2 double cheeseburgers and 2 fries, and that was enough. Maybe had to add 35 cents for tax, but that was it. But she's still my friend to this day, though, so that exposure of college is having those good group of people who willingly choose to step up, and have your back, and vice versa, too.
That sense of community is something big, man.
It really
and
is.
For y'all to go through that grind together, to be poor together.
What?
That's something special.
Going back, that was the only con, though, just borrowing too much. A lot of pros. We've already kind of experienced. I've shared that.
Yeah. Well, you had anything?
This con wasn't necessarily my con, but one con I can say is going to college for anybody other than yourself. And I think, as a past full-time professor, that's what I actually saw a lot. Is sometimes people being in college and being there for people other than themselves will make you feel like you're wasting your time, will make you feel like there is no benefit to college. And I think a lot of times people don't realize, college is about exposure, finding out what you like, what you don't like, pushing yourself to the test. So that's one of the biggest cons. Again, one of the cons I'm going to keep reiterating. Do your research on these schools and their costs. If you're going to college, be intentional and be conscious of the school that you select. Do not chase a name. Shout out to all the prestigious colleges that are out serving communities, but some of those community colleges that people are overlooking, they are still needed, and they do provide you with the opportunity to obtain a substantial education that can promote financial wealth and growth. So that's one of the other things. I immediately overlooked community colleges. I felt like at that time that was beneath me. But now,
and when you say community college, you're talking like 2-year schools?
I'm talking 2-year colleges. I'm talking 4-year community colleges, because everybody's not a university yet. But where these opportunities persist, because sometimes those colleges are less expensive. And it may take us different journey through different paths, but it's people that that started off at a technical school or started off at a 4-year college versus a university, and we ended up at the same place. And you know what I'm saying, their cost was a lot less expensive than mine. We're talking about a $60,000 difference in educational debt. You know what I'm saying? And then I got a friend who her whole undergrad experience did not cost her one dime. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, so she's like, nah, I'm good. And I just think about that. You really have to be intentional about it. And I had the opportunity to go there with the full ride, but I was like, no, that school is beneath me. So, but now I'm thinking about I'm not gonna put that out there, but I'm just saying.
I wanted to know what school it is. She said she ain't gonna put it out there.
But just looking back now, I'm like, now I'm over here sitting with these student loans, and she riding smooth. Like the money she earning is hers. She ain't worried about paying nobody back. She ain't worried about no interest. She ain't trying to get no based on income, adjustment to paying back student loans. So just being intentional about that. The pros are endless. The opportunities become endless. And I think college is always going to be about what you make of it.
Yeah, and I don't really have any cons. I say in anything you want to be aware of, what downsides could exist, and go into it with the right mind. And I say that because, one thing, a negative side of exposure is what you get exposed to. You know what I mean? Because you could be exposed to a myriad of things. In college, I would say drugs, different vices. I'll say during my college experience, I don't think I've been to a strip club once since maybe only once since honesty here. Maybe only
transparency all day long.
Transparency. Spell that. Can you spell that? No, I'll say probably only one time I've been to a strip club since college, and during college, I mean, wow, because the one time I started getting a little bit of money, but and that's one way I was spending it. But yeah, I mean, just different vices that you are exposed to, vices that other people have, and you catch on. You like, oh man, this is fun, drugs, whatever it may be. So not necessarily a con to college, but just being aware that these are things you will be exposed to different things, and you have to have a strong mindset. Like we always talk about that foundation, your foundation being strong. And just being mindful, and having discipline and moderation in whatever you do, even if it is going to the strip club.
Oh, Lord. All right. So the end, I kind of want to, I'm going to go off script again, right? So me and Winston was talking earlier, and he was like, what is something that you would share with the people behind you, just in general in life? But for this, what we're talking about with this, you brought that to mind when you said it not only is it exposure in a positive way, but in a negative way. So what would you give, what's one thing you would give back to people that's coming up behind you who are considering college and for the most part going to go? Because that's the route that we all went. We went there. I can't give you the route of not going because I went. So anybody that's coming up that's going to go to college, what's one thing that you would share with them? It can be anything. I start. Oodles and noodles will be your friend. If you hungry, get you some oodles and noodles and keep them with you.
Get you some oodles and noodles.
Get you some oodles and noodles. But what's one thing that you would give them? Oodles and noodles.
I gotta ask a question though first on top of that. So
about oodles and noodles, you got a question?
No, I don't have no question about that. It's totally clear. But I never went to junior college, right? I went straight to college. I never went to like a tech school before. And I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. I thought I had an idea of it, but so I went and I feel like I wasted some time. Do you feel it? Is junior college like? Is there a place? I mean, of course you have prerequisite classes in junior college and whatnot, right? Yeah. And it's a lot cheaper, probably. So maybe I would have benefited myself a lot by going to a junior college or a tech school first, and I would have definitely spent less money because I didn't always know exactly what I wanted to get into, And if that helped me to build a foundation of, okay, now I know, and then I went to school, I probably would have been a lot more serious when I went and probably would have spent a lot less money. So I thought that was going to be a question.
Well, I wanted to go away from home. And at the time that I was coming out of school, I don't remember any technical school, and I just didn't know. I might not just have known, but I didn't know of any technical schools that had on-campus housing.
Okay.
So because I wanted to go off.
You wanted to get ratchet, yeah.
I didn't say I wanted to get ratchet. I said I wanted to go off. But I did want to experience things, and I wouldn't have been able to experience them at home. If I had went to Piedmont Tech, I would have been staying at home, and I would have got my work done, and yes, it would have been cheaper. But then what I would have done my freshman year, or what I did do my freshman year, would have just been held back to me doing it my junior year at Lander or at Anderson, where I would have eventually went. So you still mature. To me, getting out of the house helped me mature. Making those decisions, good, bad, or indifferent, helped me to mature. So if I take 2 additional years to get out, do I make some of those same mistakes? No. But do I still hold back on my maturation? Yes. That is a word, maturation. Do I hold back on it? Yes. Because I'm now taking 2 extra years to get out to have these experiences.
I feel like you gotta think deeply about it, man.
Yeah,
I feel like you gotta think deep because it's gonna be different for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Myself, I wasn't super excited about getting away, about going away. I was just always told, you go away,
Yeah.
So those were the schools that I was looking at.
Was y'all excited about getting away?
For me, I guess it just came naturally or organically because this is the only 2 schools that accepted me, and they happened to be out of state. So it was like, I'm going,
Okay. But did you apply for a lot of ones that was closer?
Very few, and then I'm going to keep it a buck. Or 100.
You wanted to get away too.
It just didn't matter to me. I've always kind of been that person. I guess if I go somewhere cool, whether that was Columbia, Florence, Coastal, I already said Columbia, North Carolina, wherever. I literally applied to a whole lot of schools. I didn't care. I kind of wanted to get away, because for me, I knew my friends were going to go away, so I ain't finna be left behind. And I had that same perception. I didn't want to attend the local technical college. They didn't have housing, like you said, but I didn't know at that time about their bridge programs. And I don't even know if that was an opportunity at that moment in time. Had I known, maybe shifted a little differently, because going back to exposure, I do feel like you can be in your same environment and have this creative process to where, although I'm physically here, I'm elsewhere too. But that still comes with some form of exposure, whether that's through conversation with somebody, showing you or sharing with you their experiences with being able to create whatever they want, wherever they want to go. So I guess that's still kind of exposure. But yeah, to bring it back, I guess I kind of always wanted to go. I don't know. It just came naturally.
So what's one thing y'all would give to the people, or to somebody that's coming behind you?
It's kind of hard to give one thing, but I don't know. Let me think on it and come back. It's just one thing.
Whatever.
The first thing that comes to mind is networking. On so many levels, networking with your peers, networking with your professors, networking with, and this is just through personal experience, but again, somebody had to kind of put that bug in my ear. If you're looking for work study, all right, try to find work study, and that's just you working on campus within a certain department that you ultimately want to work in. So if you want to become a biologist, let me see if there are work study opportunities within a biology department. Business and finance, let me see if there's a work study opportunity in the financial aid office. And that I got my exposure in work study through those things, but I also make connections. I got exposed to grad school by doing work study in a graduate college, because I had not thought about going to grad school. So yeah, just networking, and you just said one, so networking on all levels though.
What about you?
Anything I would say is, if you have the opportunity to take college classes in high school, take advantage of that. If you are uncertain of what you want to navigate, but you're interested in going to college, I do think technical college is a great foundational start, because you don't have the additional expenses that you will have going directly into a 4-year university. And ultimately, if you decide to come out, a lot of times with technical colleges, there's a lot of grants and fundings that is provided for you early on, and so that payback journey is a lot less. I would rather pay somebody back $5,000 for 2 semesters than $20,000 for 1 year. So I think that's really important for individuals to do. I know you said one thing, but those are the biggest things. And really just trust yourself. If there's nothing that you can't do, but it will require discipline in order to do it. So that's the greatest thing. Believe in yourself, and believe when you start, make a commitment to yourself that you're going to see it through to finish it. It may take longer than other people. It's your journey, and that's the biggest thing about college. Like, some people, it took me 4 years, it took some other people 7, but regardless, they got through their journey. And so whatever you commit yourself to, see it through.
What I would say, just keep in mind, you're putting yourself on a path. Putting yourself on a path, and it's not going to be, of course it's not going to be, it's not just all fun, it's not just all seriousness, but you're going on a path, and it's preparing you. It's preparing you for something, I just want to say. And, I mean, your path can go many different ways. You don't have to go to college, but depending on what you want to do in your life, who you want to be, that may be the lane for you to take, that may be the direction for you to go in. So your path is the most important thing. You want to develop early, what are my goals? Before you go, what are my goals? And, and that should lead you, I think, in the right direction. And just be just reflecting on that. This is going to be important to me, because a lot of people don't really take it serious, I would say, as well. I went to college with a lot of people. After the first year, I ain't see them no more. You know what I mean? No more. To this day, I think about some of those people, like, where are they? What happened to them? So just knowing that it is a path and taking that path serious. And it's your path, so you ultimately decide. Don't let anybody decide for you. Definitely take other people into consideration. The people who are, who are in your life, and people who are real in your life. Like, a lot of times your parents, those real friends, those people who help guide you. Take them into consideration. But it's ultimately you, and nobody can decide but you. So, just be really cognizant, really mindful that you're putting yourself on a path, and you want to take that serious.
So, in conclusion, is college really necessary? I think we can all agree, no, it's not necessary. However, it's not a scam. I've seen that a lot too. It is not a scam. Based on all of us, we could talk about experiences. We can talk about just the training. And you mentioned it earlier. We didn't really expound on it, but that peer-to-peer learning and training and education, building that sense of community and learning from other individuals about life, about their respective majors, whether they align with yours or not. So it's not a scam, but it's not necessary. That being said, we appreciate everybody that's tuned in and talking to us. Please check us out on our social media platforms of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then also be mindful of. Go ahead, chime in. It's your turn, Kodak. Ready? I'm gonna let
Let's
y'all
go.
Oh, okay, because you threw me out.
Be mindful of.
Kodak Ready Consultants, providing services for grief, stress management, goal clarity, and personal and professional development.
And
Having
also,
any event, consider booking 6-1 Event Rentals.
You may see me in a city near you, talking to a lot of random people. I may be talking to you. I may catch you on the street at a sporting event. Let's talk about it, the platform. Tune in. We're on YouTube. The link, I think, will be in this podcast.
It will definitely.
But check us out. It's very entertaining. We talk to random people. People say the craziest things. So check out Let's Talk About It, the platform. See you soon.
All right, thank y'all for being here with us. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but y'all chose to be with us, and we appreciate that. 3 out of 4 of us are therapists, but this isn't therapy. It's a podcast, and we out.
Like my favorite white boy.
I mean,